Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really fascinating case study from Ponorogo Regency, Indonesia that helps us understand a huge global challenge. We're going to ask, how can a local community shape its own future while also trying to meet these massive worldwide goals?
All right, so let's jump right in. We're starting in a place where something really special is happening, a classroom where ancient tradition and modern education are coming together.
And this leads us to a pretty amazing question. Can a traditional dance actually transform modern education? You see, in Ponorogo, the vibrant, powerful art of Rayog dance isn't just for festivals anymore. It's becoming part of the school day. And it's all happening because of this big idea called regional autonomy.
Now, what is that? Well, just think of it as decentralization. The thinking is pretty simple. Who knows a community better than the people who actually live there, right? This policy promises a government that can respond better to local needs and, hopefully, speed up development by letting communities take the lead.
So, what does this promise of autonomy actually look like on the ground? Well, in Ponorogo, it led to something pretty groundbreaking, a new rule that put local culture front and center.
And here it is. This regulation is a fantastic example of that local innovation in action. Instead of just sticking to the national curriculum, the local government is using its new power to preserve its cultural identity and make education richer at the very same time.
And you've got to understand, this is about so much more than just dancing. The policy is actually building a whole network where schools, the local government, and cultural experts are all working together. It's a truly collaborative approach.
This quote from a local principal just perfectly captures that spirit. It shows how autonomy can really spark resourcefulness. But, as you can probably guess, turning a fantastic idea into a real working program is, well, it's never quite that simple.
Because even with this really promising start, the policy is already hitting some serious roadblocks. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If the idea is so good, what's getting in the way? Well, the research we're looking at today points to 4 major administrative hurdles that are creating a ton of friction in the system.
Okay, so hurdle number 1 is this classic conflict. It's like a policy tug-of-war. On one side, you've got the central government pushing these one-size-fits-all policies. And on the other, you have the local communities that desperately need flexibility. It just ends up creating confusion and slowing everything down for the schools. And that tug-of-war is just the beginning. The research also found these other huge problems. A shortage of trained teachers who actually know the art form, weak coordination between all the different groups, and of course, that classic bureaucratic red tape that just gums up the works and stalls even the best ideas.
Wow. This quote from a school principal really hits home, doesn't it? It gets to a critical human element. I mean, get this. The study found that for the entire region, they held just one single training session for teachers. That is nowhere near what you need to support a program this ambitious.
So you might be thinking, this is a really interesting story from one place in Indonesia, but what does it mean for the bigger picture? Well, it plugs directly into this huge worldwide agenda from the United Nations.
This right here is Sustainable Development Goal 4. It calls for inclusive and equitable quality education for everyone. It's an incredible vision for the world. But here's the tough part. How on earth do you actually measure something that big on the ground in a place like Ponorogo?
And this is where you can really see the problem, that massive disconnect. There's this huge gap between the ambitious goals set at the global level and the practical day-to-day reality of making them happen. The global indicators are often way too complex for local administrators to actually use.
And this quote from an academic involved in the study says it all, really. The global agenda is just incredibly hard to fit into local systems that are already stretched pretty thin.
So we've seen the promise, and we've definitely seen the problems. What's the bottom line here? What does it really take for local innovation like this to actually work?
Well, the study concludes that regional autonomy is not some kind of magic wand. Its success really depends on 3 key ingredients. You need strong administrative systems, you need real, structured collaboration, not just informal chats, and you need a clear plan that weaves everything together.
So in the end, it really boils down to this. Success isn't just about making a new rule. It's about building an entire system that can handle all this complexity and actually support innovation from the ground up.
And that leaves us with this final central puzzle. And it's a question not just for Ponorogo, but for communities everywhere trying to build a better future. How do we build policies that are strong enough for the whole world, but still flexible enough for a single village? Thanks for watching.